What's going on, my people? Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews. And today we're going to be discussing a movie that I was anticipating. And we're going to be talking about Day Shift. It's on Netflix right now, starring none other than Jamie Foxx, Snoop Dogg, James Franco, and many, many more in this film. The movie honestly was better than what I expected. The first thing I have to say about this is whatever thoughts you had or any misjudgments you had, man, this movie was a very, very fun ride. Usually on Netflix, you could get a hit or a miss. But this was definitely a hit, it was, your typical B movie, but very, very, very fun, very engaging. I love Jamie Foxx as an actor, as a comedian, as a performer. So, I was in this movie. I was invested from the very beginning as soon as I saw the trailer. And I love his duo with Dave Franco towards the middle to the ending of the film. The way they play back with each other, I thought was very fun. This movie has many, many callbacks. Let's talk about Snoop Dogg, man. I'm gonna give you the positives of the film. Snoop Dogg, I think, was excellent in the film. They gave him this kind of superhero feel, and I think he did a great deal, to definitely help this movie. What I loved about the movie too, you have a lot of recognizable characters in this. They have good acting. And with that being said, the plot isn't all that pleasing, but the movie's so entertaining that it doesn't become insufferable throughout. The fight scenes are second to none. This director, J.J. Perry, this is his first actual film. He's been in the works for a very long time as a second unit director and choreographer. And man, these scenes, there's at least 2 or 3 scenes in this film where, Jesus Christ, the action is just top notch. It reminds you of a John Wick slash Terminator slash Dusk Till Dawn slash whatever movie you could think of. There's a scene where you get these 2 brothers that fight vampires alongside Jamie Foxx, and they fight a good 15 to maybe 20 vampires in this house. And man, this is so well choreographed, and the way it was filmed, I was like, wow, incredible. And what's funny is one of the actors, I don't know his name, but the other one was Scott Adkins, and he's a martial artist beast. So I had a lot of fun with this movie. Even Megan Good, who stars as his estranged wife, Jamie Foxx's estranged wife. I think her part, even though it's not big in the film, I think she played it really well. Pretty much, along with the positives, this movie reminds you of a typical 90s movie. This movie could have been definitely in the theaters back in the 90s with movies like Dusk Till Dawn, movies like Blade. Because there's a lot of callbacks. There's actually a scene where they're fighting in kind of like a mall setting. And there was this scene there where it looked like the beginning of the Blade movie, where they're fighting. There was a scene where, have you ever seen Vampire in Brooklyn? Like, where he get his goon or his ghoulie deteriorates throughout the movie. And Dave Franco has this feel to him like that, where he's not deteriorating, but Jamie Foxx ends up cutting his neck off because he ends up turning, but he doesn't turn all the way. So, overall, I thought definitely this movie was worth watching, even if it's just for this action and fight scenes. Right when the movie you think is gonna lack, boom, there's a fight scene, or there's a car scene. The car scenes where there's one here, a truck, he's driving a truck, and it's incredible, and that's pretty much the positives. I wish more studios would definitely take the opportunity and put the money where their mouth is on a film like this, where they're not afraid to give it a breath of fresh air, even though this movie is in most parts generic. It's not something that we didn't see before. They do lack in a lot of things, but I think they make it up with the action and the many sequences they have throughout. And the way they use the CGI, I think, was pretty cool. The movie pretty much isn't that much CGI, maybe for some fight scenes, but it's not glaring and it doesn't bother you. Now with the negatives, my gripe is the villain of the film, this female. She was mediocre at best. I don't like the villain of this movie. If the villain was up to par, I think this movie would have been way higher. At least my rating would have been way higher than what I'm gonna give it. At the end of the day, it's a vampire movie. It's a slasher. Nothing about it pretty much is original, except for a lot of the scenes. There's a few fight scenes here that I've never seen before. There's a scene where Jamie Foxx gets thrown up the stairs, and he acknowledges that this movie has these meta moments. But it's basically a movie that combines these, two scenes, a generic plot with some great action. It's a popcorn movie at the end of the day. And, they throw in a lot of these, like in the Blade movie, right? How vampires could put on this lotion and they could, for a certain amount of time, they could stay in the sunlight. And that situation gets kind of confusing. There's certain parts where the sunlight should obviously kill them. Jamie Foxx, he blasts this one guy, and he gets right up and runs. And it doesn't seem to explain why or explain how does that even happen, in the vampire realm. But they don't put too much light to it. They never really explain why. But overall, even for missteps like that, I think that, the director definitely set his eyes. You could tell he definitely set his eyes more on the action of the film. Perry Long has been one of the busiest and most accomplished fight choreographers, stunt coordinators, and like I mentioned before, he's a second unit director in the business for the Fast and Furious, for John Wick franchises, and most of these credits came in the last couple decades, actually. And on the basis of the evidence that I'm giving you now, Perry certainly knows how to shoot action in heavy amounts. And I'm gonna say, for this first movie, man, I give him an A+ for just getting through this film, and it's satisfying. It really is. It remains to see what he's gonna do in the future. Regarding this film, I'm gonna give him a pass because, this film wasn't nothing but boring. It wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't bad. It was a B movie. It remains what he can do with a better constructed plot, and a little bit of a more engaging material. But this movie, if you're a big fan of horror, comedy, action, then this movie wasn't only well casted, but you're gonna see a lot of different nuances. Snoop Dogg, although most of his scenes were very simple, very basic, his energy not only permeated this movie, but his scenes were so integral to the film. Let's just say that without spoiling anything, right? Dave Franco, to me, and everything he ends up with is great. He's very funny. And the great back and forth between him and the banter him and Jamie Foxx share, I think, is second to none. If they end up doing a sequel, I'm not saying they will, but I think they can do a lot with this. And, the characters to me could have been a top-notch better, but at the end of the day, just to put a bow tie on this review, the acting, writing, story, really decent. The pacing is done very well, and it didn't feel like a 2 hour movie. 1 hour and I believe 53 minutes exactly. But the directing is what concerned me when I first started to watch the film, and then within the first 5 minutes, that worry, just took off. There's some shaky cam, tons of quick cuts, but like I said, it doesn't really affect the film. It really doesn't. Thank God Jamie Foxx was here, and kudos to J.J. Perry, stuntman to make his first movie and make it like this, kind of like a John Wickish movie mixed with The Raid, and I think it was awesome. So, definitely go check this out. I gave this movie a 7 out of 10. I know it's being nice, but it was very entertaining. That's why I definitely give it a 7. Could have easily been an 8, or could have easily been a 6. But I said, what, let me give it in between, because I love Jamie Foxx, I love Snoop Dogg, and Dave Franco, to me, helped put this movie over the top as well. So definitely go and check this out. It's on Netflix right now. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on my Discord and let me know what you feel about this film. Whether you liked it, whether you didn't, whether you think it deserves a sequel in the future, or, possibly maybe a spinoff with Snoop Dogg. I think that'll be fun. But definitely let me know. If you liked this review, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. I appreciate you, man. Until the next one. Peace.